Hey guys, Wrench here, back with another update on the Carrier Script. This is a big one. I got a lot to get through, and I got dinner waiting for me, so I moved through it pretty quickly. So let's just have a quick look at the changelog. So you've already seen that I added the BRC and the TACAN bug fix, removed that dist argument that we didn't need. What I did recently, since you've seen it last, is I changed the trigger system to dynamic variables, which allows us to use multiple carriers. A lot of guys were asking about that, whether or not it would work, and half the stuff worked and half of it didn't, so I fixed that. The other the other thing that does is allows us, not allows us, it just makes the setup of the mission a whole lot simpler, which you'll see in a minute. And then I added a manual override, which is a lot of guys are saying, hey, if I get back at a particular time, the carrier is not necessarily going to be moving in the right direction. So I added a manual override that can be used, like if you're supposed to be back at a particular time, you could use this to get around if he's going the wrong direction, or if you're low on fuel and you're just like, hey, I do not want this guy to start turning on me. It's really important right now that he doesn't turn around. You can put him in manual override mode, make your landing, and then put him back in automatic mode. So without any further ado, let's get through it. Like I said, a lot to cover. I noticed that the screen is blacking on me, so I gotta kind of wait a second before I start doing stuff. Okay, so I'm going to throw down a carrier, and we're going to name him Stennis. Okay. Yep. I'm going to throw down another one, and we're going to name him Stan. Okay, so we have Stennis down here, Stan up here. Yeah, keep doing that. Okay, get rid of that. Thank you. Okay, now the TACAN stuff works the same. So we need perform command, activate TACAN. This will be 55 STN. All right, and this guy, activate TACAN. We'll do 56 and ST. That would still be STN, so I'll just name it ST2. I think you need numbers. We'll find out. Okay, we've got these two guys. Okay, so they're set up. Now I'm also going to set up the wind. We're going to go ahead and use the dynamic system and verify that we've got winds going in different directions for these two. So I'm going to sort of do that. See how that looks. So that way and that way. Okay, there. That'll work. Okay, so we got those two set up. Now let's go ahead and do the actual script setup. So again, it's going to be a mission start. Script file. I'm going to come in here to, give me just a second while my brain stops working. Mist. Then we're going to clone that. And this is going to be the latest version of the script, which is 0.5. The astute among you will notice that I skipped a version. I had an internal version, adding a couple of features, but not all the stuff that I wanted to release today. All right, now we also have a new line of code we have to add, which is back up here at the top. Okay, should be back up, which is this here. Don't really need to worry too much about what it does. It just sets up the menu. So we need a do script, paste that in. Don't have to set up any variables on that. That's already good to go. Now we have a once, time more. I was testing this earlier down to 1 second. Seems to work fine. You could probably actually do it in the mission start just after loading the file. But we're just going to do it as a time more 1 second. Okay, do script. Then we're going to wait for the thing. Okay, copy that. Come back in. I'm just pasting, so I'm not going to wait too long. Okay, then we have Stennis. And dist IP for him is going to be 5 kilometers. All right, now what I'm going to do, sometimes this wigs out and doesn't want to save. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. Okay, distance, 5 kilometers. There we go. Let me just make sure. Okay, it is capitalized. I believe it is case sensitive. Okay, now what we're going to do is just clone that. And this one is Stan. Okay, there we go. So we have that all set up. And we're done. That is all we have to do. We don't have to muck around with any of this trigger stuff anymore. I got rid of all of that, so that makes life a whole lot easier for you guys. All right, so now we have the mission set up. The only other thing I'm going to do is just come in here real quick, and we're going to add an aircraft for us, and parking hot. Okay, here we go. So, let's go ahead, verify that the TACAN is working. Power, power, 5, boom. Okay, TACAN's working. Let's go ahead and get a BRC for him. Which is also, by the way, the BRC is not based on his present course if he's turning, it's based on what he's going to turn to. Okay, so now we go to F10 Other. We can see Carrier Script, Stennis, so another submenu there. Get BRC for Stennis is 6.2. Come down here to our course control, TACAN mode on, and 6.2. There we go. So BRC is working for him. Let me go ahead and zoom out. All right. Now let's change our TACAN over to 5.6. Okay, it's not picking him up because he's a little bit too far away. Yeah, he's a good distance out there. But it works the same way with the other carrier. Now, what we can do is come back in here, go to Stan, get BRC for Stan. And we see it's 142, so it is responding to the local weather where he's at. And I forgot what the Stennis's was. 6.1. 6.1. Okay, now, because, so we have the manual override in. So what I'm going to do is come in here and I'm just going to throw down a little marker. Okay, which is about where he started. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go F10, Carrier Script, Stennis, and we're going to set him to manual override. Now he's only supposed to go a maximum of 3 kilometers, which is about 1.5 nautical miles. So we're going to speed up time and let him go about 4 or 5 nautical, somewhere in here. And then at some point this guy's going to start turning around. And obviously it won't affect this one. They're separate now. Just for reference, we now see that Stan is returning. So let's go ahead and jump over to him. And we can see he's doing his week got a little messed up there. But anyway, he's doing his turn. Wait for that to load in a little bit better. Anyway, we can see he's turning. Whatever. Okay, let's come back to this one. So his was set to a lesser distance than the other one, so we know this one should be turning, and yet he is not, because he's overridden. So what we're going to do is come in here, Other, Carrier Script, Stennis, and set him back to automatic. Now it'll take a few seconds for, it waits for the next iteration of the script running, which is defaulted, I believe, to 10 seconds. And we'll see he'll go ahead and start turning. And I'll show you guys how to disable that that message if you don't want it. Okay, so anyway, we see that he is doing his turn. So he'll go back to IP, blah, 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 same as before, but we can now come in here, F10 Other, Carrier Script, Stennis, go to automatic again. Oh, I'm sorry. Go to Stennis, go back to override, and we'll see he'll turn back into the wind in a few seconds. So regardless of what's going on, you can always force him to allow you to land. So, you're running low on fuel, you come in, everything's looking good, he starts turning, you just, nope, don't turn. Okay, so we see that it's working there. Now let's go back over to the other carrier, who I believe is still returning. He hasn't made it back yet. So let's go Other, Carrier Script, Stan, Override. And these two are independent of each other. So we can go back to Stennis, set him back to automatic. Okay. So Stan is now overridden. And the Stennis, I believe I set to automatic. Yeah, so he's returning. So there we go. It works independently. It also works, obviously, for both coalitions. Okay, so there we go. We can see that they are separate. We can see the TACAN's working, the BRC's working, the menu works well. So I believe that's pretty much everything in DCS that I wanted to show you guys. Now, as far as getting rid of that message, what we want to do is find the function wrench get wind. All right, we come down to the last line, except for these ends, obviously, and this is the one that does it. So unit 1, in this case, is Stennis, is returning. All you got to do, come to the beginning of this line, add 2 dashes or hyphens. That'll comment out the line and stop that from going. Now for the Lua guys, for the mission editors, I just wanted to demonstrate something that you may find useful. There's 2 flags that I need. You'll remember were previously 3 and 4. Now what I actually did was use his ID number as the flag number, so you see that here. Right, the value of the key ID, which is this. In this case is this 16 million and yada yada. So the that way, you know, there's 16 million. Nobody's going to use that many triggers to get up to that number naturally. Now, in order to do the second one, took me some thinking, and this is the part I think you might find interesting. So I could do, you know, his unit ID plus 1, but the problem is another unit might have that number and would cause and could potentially cause problems. You know, if you plonk down one carrier than the other, you never know. Right, so I found that the number of a trigger does not need to be an integer value. So I actually use his ID plus 0.1. So it's 16,077,000 blah 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 0.1 for the trigger. And I've never found anything in DCS typically that uses non-integer values for triggers. So that way, nothing else you do is liable to overwrite this. And that keeps you from conflicting with other stuff. So anyway, I just thought you guys might find that interesting. The non-integer trigger value might be of use to you for stuff that you guys got going on. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to show you guys. And yeah, thank you very much. And the amount of feedback that I've gotten on this has been really awesome, both with questions and just, you know, guys, you know, thanking me for doing the work. And, you know, I appreciate you guys taking the time to let me know that, you know, that this is helpful to you. So, yeah, thanks again. And, you know, keep your comments and questions coming, feature requests. I'm obviously happy to deal with. So if you have any feedback, let me know on either on the forum. I'm subscribed to that thread so I get email notifications, or you can contact me through Discord. I'll put my Discord name in the description below. I'm on the DCS Discord, the unofficial community Discord, as well as currently Lex Talianis's. I jumped onto his because I wanted some feedback from him on this, and you know, the guys on his Discord have been really supportive of the idea as well. So I want to give a specific shout out to them because they're the guys that actually convinced me to to release this publicly. So yeah, thanks again, everybody, and I hope you enjoy the script as it is, and anything else that we decide to add in the future. Thank you.